Ladies and gentlemen, the seminar on business opportunities in ASEAN Special Economic Zones and Industrial Zones will begin shortly at 1 p.m. We kindly ask for your attention to the screen. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to welcome all of you to the opening ceremony on the seminar on business opportunities in ASEAN Special Economic Zones and Industrial Zones on live organized by the ASEAN-Korea Center. My name is Lee Jae-min from the ASEAN-Korea Center, and it is my great pleasure to carry on today's meaningful event held in conjunction with the Korean ASEAN-India Business Week 2021 and ASEAN Week 2021, hosted by the Presidential Committee on New Southern Policy. This seminar aims to provide insights, implications, and recommendations on new business opportunities in ASEAN Special Economic Zones and Industrial Zones, which is in line with ASEAN-Korea Center's initiative to promote economic and socio-cultural cooperation between the Asian member states and Korea. We express our sincere appreciation to the speakers and all the on- and offline participants from ASEAN and Korea who are with us this afternoon. Now, let us begin by inviting His Excellency Kim Hae-yong, Secretary General of the ASEAN-Korea Center, for the opening remarks. Please welcome him with a big round of applause.
Good afternoon to all. 안녕하십니까? His Excellency, Ung Butung, Ambassador of Vietnam, distinguished speakers and guests from ASEAN member states and Korea, ladies and gentlemen, and online viewers. Let me first extend my warmest welcome to all of you joining us both online and offline. Taking this opportunity, I'd like to thank the ASEAN Committee in Seoul and government organizations managing the special economic zones and industrial zones for their support and cooperation to make today's event possible. I would also like to extend my sincere gratitude to our co-organizers, KITA, Korea International Trade Association, and KOTRA, Korea Trade Investment Promotion Agency, for their continued partnership. Dear guests, as you all agree, economic ties between Korea and ASEAN have grown remarkably over the past 32 years. In order to further expand, deepen this relationship for greater prosperity, it is important to achieve a more balanced expansion of trade. Asymmetry can undermine growth by hindering mutual cooperation, and therefore increased efforts should be made to promote trade in a more mutually beneficial way. Against this backdrop, the Center organized ASEAN and India Pavilion to showcase eye-catching products from the 11 countries. You will be able to find ASEAN's specialty products such as coffee, cosmetics, and indigenous handicrafts in Exhibition Hall C. Business meetings with the officers from embassies and trade offices are also available for those who are interested in importing these products. Distinguished guests, for the past 2 years, the world has been struggling with the pandemic. While many efforts are being made, including vaccination, it appears that we need more time to fully control COVID-19. Yet, despite the challenges, ASEAN and Korea remained steadfast partners throughout the pandemic. Statistics show that ASEAN has remained Korea's second largest trading partner for 5 consecutive years. In terms of investment, ASEAN became the second largest investment destination for Korean companies last year. Recognizing the importance of free trade and open markets, governments have also tried to establish institutional framework for even stronger economic cooperation between ASEAN and Korea. Last November, Korea joined Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership, known as RCEP, together with ASEAN countries. And on top of the existing ASEAN-Korea FTA of 2006, Korea has so far concluded 4 individual FTAs with the ASEAN member states by finishing up negotiations with Cambodia early this year. One of the goals of ASEAN Economic Community is for the ASEAN to become a single production base for global markets. In this regard, special economic zones and industrial zones have contributed to attracting global corporates to the region by facilitating greater trade and allowing businesses to enjoy various incentives. In particular, special economic zones are gaining increasing prominence from investors that are seeking to diversify their supply chain. More recently, ASEAN has been attracting global corporates with its large consumer market. According to the World Economic Forum, over the next decade, ASEAN will become the world's 4th largest economy with roughly $4 trillion GDP. This is why, even at the height of the pandemic, there are around 17,000 Korean companies doing business in ASEAN. Speakers of today's seminar from both online and offline will introduce up-to-date information on target sectors, incentives, and benefits their respective special economic zones and industrial zones. I believe today's seminar will provide fruitful information for the participants and online viewers. In closing, I wish that today's seminar will serve as a platform to support and promote a more balanced economic partnership between ASEAN and Korea. I also wish every success in the ongoing recovery efforts for all businesses, and most of all, stay healthy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, please welcome His Excellency Nguyen Vu Tuong, Ambassador of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam to the Republic of Korea, and Chair of ASEAN Committee in Seoul for his congratulatory remarks. Please give him a big hand.
Good afternoon, everyone. The Ambassador Kim Hae-yong, Secretary General of the ASEAN-Korea ASEAN Center, colleagues and friends, speakers and participants to this seminar. First of all, let me, on behalf of the other ASEAN ambassadors to Seoul, the ACS, warmly welcome all the participants and especially the speakers. We wish the seminar a great success. I think that the theme of the seminar, which is the business opportunities in ASEAN special economic zones and industrial zones, organized in the Korea ASEAN India Business Week, is a very important event. Just to echo what Ambassador Kim Hae-yong just said, it is the flagship project of the AKC, and it is also the key seminar for the whole week. I think that this is a very bold event because it shows that we overcome the challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic to continue our business. But it is even more important in the sense that we have seen the light at the end of the tunnel with regard to the COVID-19 pandemic. And it is very important that we are preparing for the next phase. We might call it the post-COVID-19 phase, with a greater level of readiness and preparedness. We want to do our business as usual. But even more importantly, opportunities are not only in the resumption of business as before, but we have also, through the more than 2 years of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic, we have found out that new opportunities have actually been more than before. And they not only in the processing, industrial, or the traditional businesses, but the following businesses are having more opportunities. They are healthcare business, they are education business, and they are smart city urbanization management opportunities. So we seems to have more opportunities than before. That's my point. Next point is about the political and diplomatic context that are more conducive for our cooperation, and I also see it as a new source of opportunity. We know that the new Southern Policy Plus is now in the full swing, and it creates more opportunities for cooperation, not only between our ASEAN, India, individual countries with Korea, but also for Korea relations with ASEAN as an organization. So the purpose of the new Southern Policy Plus and the respective foreign policies of the ASEAN and India countries are very conducive for serving the purposes of peace, prosperity, and people, the three pillars of the new Southern Policy Plus. So this PPP, peace, people, prosperity, is enjoying more opportunity in the future. And another PPP, which is public-private partnership, very important too. And I think that they are also presenting this new source of opportunity, business opportunity for us. With that, I'd like to conclude my presentation, my remarks here, sharing with you that the embassies of ASEAN countries in Korea is ready to serve as partner for you as business leaders, as well as the ones who have who are stakeholders in promotion of business opportunities in ASEAN, especially, as well as in ASEAN and India and Korea in general. So with that, once again, on behalf of the ASEAN ambassadors in Seoul, I'd like to wish the seminar a great success that serves as the connecting point or connecting platform for promotion of business doing in our region. So thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, His Excellency, for your congratulatory remarks. Before we begin with the presentations, I would like to introduce a helpful portal site for Korean businesses who are interested in doing trade in ASEAN. ASEAN Access, overseen by the ASEAN Coordinating Committee on Micro, Small, and Medium Enterprises, is a free information portal helping international trade companies to explore new market opportunities and overcome business challenges within the ASEAN region. For those who are interested, please visit the website ASEANaccess.com for further information. Ladies and gentlemen, I would also like to give you an announcement that the online viewers may raise questions through the YouTube live chat. For those who have any questions to the presenters, please leave your comments along with your name, affiliation, and email address. We will send the questions to the speakers after the seminar. Please note that the questions would be answered and delivered to your email addresses later on. We ask for your active participation. Now we will begin with the presentations, starting from Mr. Daniel Leung, Head of Industrial Site Management of Darussalam Enterprise from Brunei. Due to movement restrictions imposed by the pandemic, he will be delivering his presentation online. Please welcome him.
안녕하세요 and hello everyone. My name is Daniel Leung, the Head of Industrial Site Management at Darussalam Enterprise, DARE. It is my great pleasure to be here with you virtually. First of all, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to the ASEAN-Korea Center, AKC, the Korea International Trade Association, KITA, for organizing the seminar and giving me the opportunity to share about industrial zones in my country, Brunei Darussalam. Without further ado, please allow me to start my presentation. The country of Brunei Darussalam is located at the heart of Southeast Asia. Our capital city, Bandar Seri Begawan, is within less than 4 hours of flight time from all ASEAN capital cities. We enjoy stable political and economic environment in Brunei, as well as being sheltered from natural disasters such as earthquakes or tsunamis. We have a pristine natural environment to act as your base location to serve Southeast Asia. Economic diversification will allow Brunei Darussalam to achieve our Wawasan Brunei 2035 national vision for a dynamic and sustainable economy. Strong regional and global connectivity will enable our businesses to expand as well as attract quality FDI to the country. For growth to be sustainable, the country's natural environment has to be safeguarded through the promotion of environmentally friendly initiatives. Brunei Darussalam has identified 5 priority clusters, among other emerging ones that will spearhead the development of our non-oil and gas sector, which will then contribute to the economic diversification efforts. The priority clusters are in the area of food, info communication technology or ICT, services, tourism, oil and gas downstream industry. However, Brunei also welcomes other investments in other sectors as well. DARE is set up by His Majesty the Sultan of Brunei through the Darussalam Enterprise Order of 2016. Our mandate is to promote and facilitate the development of business enterprises in Brunei, including local businesses as well as those owned by foreign investors. We provide our support through a number of initiatives in the above areas. Many are targeted at nurturing our local micro, small and medium enterprises, such as in training, support services, financial support, etc. We aim to develop our local supply chain in the clusters so that foreign investors like yourself can easily be supported locally to set up your operation for export to the ASEAN region. We are also very serious to support market access opportunities such as this ASEAN Week 2021, where we connect businesses among ASEAN countries and Korea. So today, I would like to give you more details about our support for industrial space and industrial land and facilities, especially to potential FDI companies. We have a dedicated industrial site management team to plan, operate, and manage all the industrial sites in 27 locations in the 4 districts of Brunei. We provide advice on the location depending on your project, the type of activity, light, medium, heavy industry, and your location from port, power, water requirement, etc. Industrial Site Management, ISM, is a department under DARE that focuses on the management and development of our industrial parks. Such administration includes not only managing and maintaining the industrial parks, but we also offer support to our tenants, both locals and foreign investors, to facilitate your business needs when required. On the other hand, DARE also has been involved in many projects including one of them is a completion of a 2.7-kilometer bridge and utilities that link our petrochemical industrial park to the mainland. We also have other ongoing projects of a construction of a food processing facility established to create value-added services to our food industry and leverage on the halal branding for export. On cluster development, they're envisioned to create more value add to our industrial parks by identifying the potential clusters in the priority industries. Currently, there works with other government stakeholders, and we are making strides to create a new maritime cluster that will focus on marine maintenance and offshore oil platform decommissioning works. Lastly, as the national MSME body, there aims to create more business opportunities and drive the economy of Brunei through our local enterprises, providing opportunities for business-to-business connections among MSMEs and FDIs, as well as link their projects with our tenants operating at our industrial parks. Here is the 4 simple steps for an investor project to be developed. Number 1, we welcome you to come to Brunei and have a site visit so that you see actual locations and the condition offered for your project. Usually this would be through our colleagues at the Brunei Economic Development Board. There will be certain COVID-19 related travel restrictions which our colleagues will be able to provide the necessary facilitation for entry permit and travel itinerary. As part of your feasibility study, we will require you to give details of your project and your requirements of land sizes and utilities, etc. This allows us to find you the right location and land plot to start your project. There will be a formal approval for the allocation of the land if you meet the FDI criteria, and there will execute a land lease agreement with the investor to guarantee that you have availability and the terms of the lease for the whole duration of your project investment period. And this step usually would take 3 to 6 months or longer, depending on the time taken for your feasibility study. Step 2, during the second step, the investor will have to engage respective engineering or environmental consultants to seek approvals in the planning permission and the environmental impact assessment and your monitoring and management plan, your building designs, etc. As our team already have extensive experience with other investor projects at our site, data such as soil investigation results, existing tapping points, etc. can be provided to your consultants to save time and costs. Step number 3, when your construction period will depend on the complexity of each project and the type of specialized plant and equipment that you require for your operations. And by step 4, after completion of your construction and obtaining your occupation permit, will allow you to connect to the permanent water and power to start operations. From then, the DARE team will continue to work closely with our investors to ensure smooth operations. Here is a list of business opportunities in Brunei, leveraging on the country's priority clusters where there are corresponding industrial sites tailored for it. Due to the limited time allocated, next I will share a selection of our industrial sites that may be of interest to you. Pulau Merah Besar, or PMB, is a 1,000-hectare island located on the Brunei Bay. It was designed for oil and gas downstream production and takes advantage of the surrounding waters for exports. PMB's anchor tenant, Hengi Industries Sdn Bhd, is one of the largest investors in Brunei at US $3.45 billion for phase 1 of their refinery and integrated petrochemical project. They started production in November 2019, has a capacity of 160,000 barrels per day. There will be further plans for phase 2, which may include further reclamation and significant larger scale, but this is being finalized and Brunei will be built up as a major player in the petrochemical business. Other plans in PMB include the marine maintenance and decommissioning yard, and where we aim to develop the Brunei Maritime Cluster to service Brunei Shell Petroleum Company and other major players in the region. Selambiga Industrial Park. As an initiative to diversify the economy, Selambiga accommodates various FDIs from Japan, Canada, India, and China. The 121-hectare site was developed in 2014, and it accommodates various business services within the sector and promote exports. Current activities include pharmaceutical manufacturing, food processing, specialty chemical, carbon steel pipe production, and other business services. An upcoming Brunei Food Industry Development Project aims to boost the food industry by leveraging on our Brunei Halal certification and also international standards for exports. Next, we have Anggrek Desa Technology Park, ADTP. This is the home of DARE's headquarters. ADTP adopted the live, work and play concept, and we envision to convert this 16-hectare area into an innovation hub. The traffic here has increased throughout the years. Now we have an incubation center, a knowledge hub, and other facilities to accommodate ICT, creative, government specialized services, and telecommunication tenants. ADTP aims to create a conducive learning and innovative environment while promoting entrepreneurship among the people of Brunei. Next, we have Turinjin Free Trade Zone. DARE is appointed as the authority for the FTZ in 2018 by the Ministry of Finance and Economy. This 97-hectare FTZ is 22 kilometers away from the main shipping port and 8 kilometers from the airport. It is located next to our highway for easy access. Turinjin FTZ is to cater for manufacturing business services or ICT industry and high-value export-related industry. We have reached the end of my presentation. I hope that you have now the basic information about industrial sites in Brunei Darussalam. And most importantly, now you know that you can approach DARE, and we will be glad to support you along this journey. Thank you for your kind attention, and I look forward to hearing from you.
Thank you for your presentation, Mr. Daniel Lang. Our next presenter is Mr. Kat Jin, Commercial Attaché of the Royal Embassy of Cambodia to the Republic of Korea. Please welcome him to the stage with a warm applause.
Good afternoon, Excellency, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Kat Chen, Commercial Attaché Royal Embassy of Cambodia. Today, I am presentation for the Special Economic Zone. The first slide for we are for three main points of the review to the presentation today. The first point is brief overview of Cambodia. And the second point is about the current reform by Ministry of Commerce. And the lastly is particular about Cambodia appreciate economic zone. The overview of Cambodia. So the Cambodia, we have the population 15 and 75%. For the currency rate is the real. For the GDP, GDP capital 2019 and 2020. For the 2020, we have for 1,683, and for the GDP of the 2021 for 1,033. And for the second point is the organization of Ministry of Commerce. Ministry of Commerce, we have 7 organizations. This is for the current Reform Ministry of Commerce, CO, is using update. And for Form A and Form B, for the shipment by sea, for the shipment by air, and for the shipment by structure. For the shipment by struct air, requirement document include for application form, a receipt appearance, invoice and the picking list, inspection report, company letter authorization of its representative. Then after the goods having export not later than 30 days after document required submit. So there are a lot of profit from for the automation line, CO application online, CO application the online, sell item and expense, faster statistic recording, e-receive payment, e-bank, and audience of interface between official and private sector. For the using a certificate of origin at intake of special economic zone, it is applied on issue in the single free with just a few single steps. First, it is applying CO incorporate with the legal document, check, then the print and sign CO, last is the stamp and complete. Let us move to on the first main point of today's presentation, which is about of Cambodia Special Economic Zone. There are 54 special economic zones that approval and 25 special economic zones operational, and 24 are seeking the form. Here is a letter illustrating the investment capital in special economic zone and number of the job covered from the zone of 2019. It would seem that Phnom Penh capital and the Sihanoukville, the biggest investment capital. Meanwhile, the number of jobs created by Mahan company and those in the Sihanoukville, it were accounted for than 200,000. Meanwhile, it was also the count for around 150,000 jobs. The investment for IQP include the corporate income tax for 20%, the tax holiday for 0%, that up to 9 years. There are also a full import duty exemption tax on the production equipment, construction material, and raw material for export processing. Furthermore, it's also a second export exemption. Meanwhile, the special sensitive of Special Economic Zone, QIP, there is a one-stop service located at the zone on also what support for export QIP. Moving to on the application and for protocol procedure, there are two types of them, the application procedure. Application process of QIP outside Special Economic Zone is required. Submit of investment proposal to CDC or PMIS. Issue of control registration certificate, CRC. Issuance letter of non-compliance. Obtaining all of the license from Ministry in the CRC on behalf of the application. Issuance of the final registration certificate SRC. For the second type of the presentation, the registration process of QIP of investment project in the Special Economic Zone is required. Complete the formality and submit to the certificate of Special Economic Zone at registration. The Special Economic Zone at registration to decide based on the legal, administrative, and chemical aspect, and on the insurance of the RFC. Mandatory for investment approval procedure, it is required to have. For CDC, issue a conditional registration certificate to application. Company registration with the Ministry of Commerce. Relevant license application Ministry and Industry. Review and approve of construction plan, local city. Ministry of Land Management, Urban Planning and Construction. Initial Environment Impact Asset at Ministry of Environment, General Department of Taxation Registration, and Ministry of Finance. Cambodia also regulatory reform for better investment application. There are two new law on investment that a smart activity champ for active on-stop service, more investment friendly, better after service, and also high incentive for for C or activity. On behalf of law on the special economic zone that include the same standard of the physical incentive as approval in LOI for a special economic zone development project and the project local in special economic zone, fast track one-stop service inside special economic zone, the transaction, simplify investment, registration, and procedure, and the simple document for import and law mention and export of the procedure. Kamsahamnida, and thank you for your kind attention.
Thank you for sharing valuable information, Mr. Katchen. Next, please welcome Mr. Hilmi Tanjung, Director of the Indonesia Investment Promotion Center, to the stage.
I'm sorry. Thank you very much. Annyeonghaseyo. Dear His Excellency Kim Hae-yeon, dear His Excellency Nguyen Phu Tung from Vietnam, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, allow me to introduce myself. My name is Hilmi Tanjung. I am the Director of Indonesia Investment Promotion Center. We are the representative office of Indonesia Ministry of Investment in Korea. Okay. So, on this opportunity, I would like to share with you about what's going on in Indonesia and the current investment policies and incentives. So first, let us start by giving an update about some investment information. Let us take a look at investment realization info in 2020. In 2020, although all countries are still facing the pandemic and having economic slowdown, without exception, the investment realization in Indonesia was still above our target. Throughout 2020, Indonesia recorded a total investment realization of 826.3 trillion rupiah, or 2.1 increase compared to 2019. Despite a decline of minus 2.4% FDI growth, we had a 7% increase in domestic direct investment year on year. So the total investment realization was 826.3 trillion rupiah in 2020, or increased 2.1% compared to the 2019. So in terms of foreign investment, Asian countries such as Singapore, China, Hong Kong, Japan, and South Korea are still the largest investors in Indonesia. And the next slide is some information on investment realization based on the sectors. And next, and then based on location. Sorry, I will be going a little bit faster because we have only 15 minutes here. And then The next one is for recent information. As you can see on the slide, in the first quarter of 2021, South Korea was the third largest FDI investors coming to Indonesia, focusing on the investment location mainly in Java Island, and mainly investing in the motor vehicles and other transport equipment industry, electricity, gas and water supply, and also textile industry sectors. Next, let us talk about the economic outlook in 2021. Slide, okay. And the first semester of 2021 has shown tremendous change, with many countries experiencing positive economic growth and on their way to recovery. Indonesia itself has gained over 7% rebound for their economic growth on the second quarter of 2021. In Indonesia, national economic growth have maintained recovery momentum in the first semester of 2021, with the improvement recorded across nearly all demand-side component and economic sectors. Indonesia should see a solid rebound in semester 2 of 2021 and is projected to continue building momentum in line with the promising global economic recovery outlook and ongoing policy stimuli. From the side of economic growth, after deep contraction minus 5.3% in second quarter 2020, with the support of state budget and the strengthened National Economic Recovery Program, that what we call PEN program, Indonesia GDP grew up to minus 2.2% at the fourth quarter and have recovered in the first half of 2021 to 7.7%. Okay, next slide. South Korea have been a consistent partner in an economic cooperation with Indonesia. For the past 2 years, Korean companies have expanded their business in Indonesia, counted among Korean conglomerates investing in more than 10 billion US dollar. Now, Indonesia is currently facilitating the investment plan of LG Hyundai Consortium in the integrated EV battery supply chain industry. The package deal, which spans from investment in nickel mines and refining to EV battery production, this deal was signed in December 2020 and is worth around 9.8 billion US dollars. On the next chapter, we will get into more detail regarding special economic zone in Indonesia. So, what is the definition of special economic zone in the perspective of the Indonesian government? Based on the law number 39, year 2020, special economic zones are zones with certain limits within the jurisdiction of the Republic of Indonesia, which are established to carry out economic function and obtain certain facilities. SEZ is developed through the preparation of areas that have a geo-economic and geostrategic advantage and function to accommodate industrial activities, exports, imports, and other economic activities that have high economic value and international competitiveness. SEZ in Indonesia, what we call also KEK, has a legal basis for its establishment. The following is the legal basis starting from laws, government regulation, Ministerial of Finance regulation, to the Director General of Customs and Excise regulation. Next slide. While the aim and objectives of the SEZ are to increase investment, maximize industrial activities, export, imports, and other economic activities that have high economic value, accelerate the regional economy, and serve as a breakthrough for the regional development models to be reduced to all the country. Next is the organization structure of Indonesia SEZ or KEK. SEZ organizational structure starts from the Indonesia President at the very top, and then at the national level has a national council chaired by the coordinating minister for the economy. And the provincial level has a regional council. And at the very bottom, at the district or city level, it has a SEZ administrator office. So Indonesia SEZ consists of several activities clusters. They are export-oriented processing clusters activities. Second is logistic. The third is industry. The fourth, technology development. The fourth is tourism activities. The sixth, energy, and other value-added economic activities. Until 20 January of year 2020, Indonesia SEZ spread through 15 competitive locations all over the Indonesia region. So next slide, this slide's showing the more detail of each SEZ. Facilities and incentives in the SEZ, among them were the easiness process of the immigration, the labor, tax, land acquisition, export and import, and in terms of customs procedures. Custom facilities provided in SEZ are, the first is the suspension and or the exemption of import duty for imports of capital goods and raw materials, and the exemption from excise as long as the good classified as raw or goods materials that used to support production activities. So the following slide showing the custom documents used for entry and exit of the goods from and out from the SEZ area in Indonesia. Okay, next, let's look at the SEZ location in Indonesia, one by one. So we have here SEZ Arun Loksmawe. So it is located in Aceh province, in a very north part of Sumatra Island. The primary activities here is oil and gas industry, petrochemical industry, agro industry, and paper industry. And then we look at SEZ Seimangke, which is located in North Sumatra. The primary activities is rubber industry and palm oil industry. The next is SEZ Galang Batang. Galang Batang located in Riau Island. The primary activities is bauxite industry for the processing of bauxite. So this is the Galang Batang SEZ. And then Tanjung Api-Api SEZ, located in near Palembang, Banyuasin, South Sumatra. And the primary activities is rubber industry, palm oil industry, and petrochemical industry. And then we came to Tanjung Lesung SEZ. It's located in Banten province, and the main activities is for the tourism activities. It's located in a very nice view of the sea in the Banten province. And then we go to SEZ Tanjung Klayang. Tanjung Klayang located in Belitung Island, Bangka Belitung. It's also aimed to promote the tourism industry in the Bangka Belitung. The next one is Kendal SEZ, which is located in Central Java. Most of Korean companies is located in Central Java right now because the low wages and the very good infrastructure there. The primary activities for the Kendal SEZ is textile and clothing, furniture, food and beverage, automotive, and also electronics. The next one is the newest SEZ, Singhasari SEZ. It's located in Malang, East Java, near Surabaya. So the primary activities for this SEZ is textile and clothing, furniture. This is for tourism and digital technology. So this is the newest one for the digital technology development. And then we go forward to the SEZ Mandalika, which is located in central Lombok, in the east area of Indonesia. The primary activities is tourism. Indonesia is building a very big circuit right now. So the World Superbike in 2021, November, will be held in Mandalika. It's near Bali, actually. So next one is SEZ Malay Batuta, Trans Kalimantan. Okay, so Malay Batuta also will support the new capital city when we relocate the capital city from Jakarta to Kalimantan. And then we found out now the SEZ Palu, which is located in the central Sulawesi. The primary activities is nickel and iron ore industry, cacao industry, seaweed industry, rattan and processing industry. So why nickel industry is very big in central Sulawesi? Because the nickel deposit is very huge spread in this particular island. So the next one is SEZ Bitung, located in North Sulawesi. The primary activities is coconut processing industry, fishery industry, and herbal pharmacy industry. The next one is SEZ Likupang. It's also aimed to develop a tourism industry in the area. And then the next one is SEZ Morotai, located in North Molucas, Maluku, in Morotai Island. And the primary activities is tourism, fishery, and forestry industry. And the next one is SEZ Sorong, located in West Papua. And the primary activities is nickel smelter industry, forestry, sagu industry, and the third one is palm oil industry. Maybe that's all from me. Thank you very much for your attention. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Mr. Hilmi Tanjung, for your excellent presentation. Before we move on, we would like to introduce 3 introductory video clips on the ASEAN and India Pavilion, which is currently taking place at COEX Hall C. At the pavilion, you may witness the carefully selected 10 ASEAN countries' representative products, such as food and beverages, cosmetics, and indigenous handicrafts. Business meetings are also available with ASEAN commercial counselors for the Korean businesses who are interested in importing these products. First, let's take a look on exotic items from Brunei, Cambodia, and Indonesia from the screen. I hope everyone enjoyed the first video clip. Also, please stay tuned for more clips in between the sessions. Now, let's resume the presentation session, continuing with Ms. Panchinta Langshavad, Deputy Director General of Special Economic Zone Promotion and Management Office from Lao PDR. Please welcome Ms. Langshavad online.
Distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, I'm pleased and honored to be given this opportunity to participate virtually in this seminar on business opportunities in ASEAN Special Economic Zones. My name is Panchinta Langshavad, Deputy Director General of Special Economic Zone Promotion and Management Office under Ministry of Planning and Investment of Lao PDR. The objectives of my presentation today are: first, to provide an overview of SEZ development in Lao PDR, and second, to provide information on investment opportunities, incentive offers, and contact point for further information and application. Special Economic Zones in Lao PDR has started since early 2000 when the government embarked on the development of the first SEZ, namely Savan-Seno Special Economic Zone in 2003. The objectives of SEZs in Lao PDR are to attract foreign investment to the country, to promote industrial development, job creation, knowledge and technology transfer, as well as GDP contribution. Up to date, we have established 12 SEZs in the country. Based on the development context of our country, we have adopted a combination of approaches to SEZ development. That means some zones we have foreign private sector as developer, while other zones are jointly developed by the government and private sector. In general, developers are responsible for creating necessary infrastructures and provide all necessary amenities for business operations. The government has set up one-stop service unit under SEZ Management Authority in each province where SEZ is located in order to facilitate business operations. It is very common for SEZ in Lao PDR to include a number of subzones. For example, one SEZ can include an industrial park, trade and logistics centers, or in some zones, they can include tourism area, new urban center, and commercial centers. In terms of the land areas, our SEZ have land areas that ranges from 100 hectares to almost 10,000 hectares. All of our 12 SEZs are strategically located along the GMS economic corridors, as well as along the borders with neighboring countries, allowing convenient access to regional markets. Out of 12 SEZs in Lao PDR, 3 are located in the northern provinces. 8 are in the central part of the country, including in Viengjang capital city, and 1 in southern province. Now allow me to explain in more detail the SEZs that are located in the northern part of Lao PDR. The first one is Boten Beautiful Land SEZ, which is located in Luang Namta province, which shares border with Mohan, Yunnan province of China. The developer is private sector from China, and the zone is being developed into a vibrant city, focusing on real estate sector, tourism, trade, and logistics. The second zone that is located in the northern province of Laos is Golden Triangle SEZ, which is in Bokeo province. It is located along the Mekong River, bordering with Thailand and Myanmar. The focus area is on tourism sector, real estate, as well as trade and commercial sector. The third SEZ in the northern part of Laos is Luang Prabang SEZ, which is in Luang Prabang province. It is being developed by the Lao private sector, who is looking for a partner to jointly develop the zone into a tourism, trade and logistic area. Now I'd like to move on to SEZs that are located in Viengjang, capital city. The first one is Saiseta Development Zone. This zone is jointly developed by Lao and Chinese governments. The zone focuses on building industrial park, new urban center, logistic and trade area. The second zone is Vita Park or Viengjang Industrial and Trade Area. This zone, as the name suggests, houses a number of manufacturing companies that mainly produce for export. The next one is Viengjang Long Tang Special Economic Zone, which is being developed by a private sector from Vietnam. The focus is on tourism and real estate sector. In addition, the zone is planning to establish a high-tech industrial park. The fourth SEZ that is located in Viengjang capital is That Luang Lake Special Economic Zone, which is located right in the heart of Viengjang capital. The focus is on the new urban center and tourism as well as real estate. The fifth SEZ is Dong Po Si SEZ, which is located right on the first friendship bridge between Laos and Thailand. The focus is on development of trade and commercial center. Now I'd like to move on to the SEZs that are located in the central province of Laos. This includes Thakek SEZ, which is located in Kham Muan province, next to the third Lao-Thai Friendship Bridge. And it is being developed into a trade, logistic and commercial areas. The second SEZ that is located also in Kham Muan province is called Phu Kiao SEZ. This zone is being developed by a Lao private sector and is looking for a joint partner to develop the zone into industrial park, new urban center, trade and logistics center. The third SEZ in the central part of Laos is Sawan Senu Special Economic Zone, which is the first SEZ that is developed in Lao PDR. It constitutes subzones such as industrial sector, logistic, trade and commercial sectors. The last SEZ is located in Champasak, southern part of Laos, Champasak province. This SEZ has 4 subzones. The first subzone is called Wang Tao Pontong SEZ, which is located on the border with Thailand, and it has a dry port, which facilitates the logistics businesses in the southern provinces of Laos. It has also an industrial park, focusing on attracting investment in agriculture processing. The second subzone is called Pakse Japan SME. It hosts many manufacturing companies from Japan that produce mainly for export. And the third SEZ is called Mahanati Sithandon SEZ, which focuses on tourism, new trade and commercial centers. And the fourth subzone is called Champasak Lao Service Industrial Park. And this is being developed by a Lao company and is looking for a partner to jointly develop this zone into an industrial area. Up to date, these 12 zones have already attracted over 1,060 firms, which have made actual investment of over 6.6 billion and created over 68,000 jobs. Top investors are mainly from China, followed by Thailand, Japan, and other ASEAN countries. Currently, we have limited number of Korean companies that are investing in these zones. they are investing mainly in renewable energy, tourism, real estate, and trade. So now I would like to move on to the second part of the presentation, which focus on the incentives and application process. But before I talk about the incentive, I'd like to highlight the main regulatory framework for SEZ development in Laos PDR, and this includes the Investment Promotion Law and the Decree on Special Economic Zone in Laos PDR, as well as individual contracts between the government and zone developers. These set out the terms and conditions for investing in SEZ throughout the whole duration of concession agreement. The incentives that are given are including tax-related incentives such as profit tax exemption for up to 17 years, depending on investment sectors, tax-free for import of construction materials, for factories building, and raw materials for export production. In addition, Laos PDR offers political stability, abundance of natural resources, low risk of natural disaster, low cost of labor, land, and electricity. We have simplified business application procedures to invest in SEZs, longer land tenure term from 50 to 90 years. In the area which requires special technical expertise, import of foreign experts are also possible. Foreigners can also purchase and own real estate products such as apartments for up to the duration of SEZ land lease agreement. So in terms of investment application, there are two types of investment in SEZ. The first is to develop a new SEZ. If you are interested in developing a new SEZ, you can submit the application to the One-Stop Service Office under Ministry of Planning and Investment, which then coordinates with our office and also relevant agencies to review application and submit the case to Investment Management Committee for approval. Once approved, an MOU for feasibility study will be negotiated and signed with the government. And after the feasibility study is conducted and endorsed by both parties, the development contract is negotiated and signed, and then the development can start. The second type of investment in SEZ is to invest in the existing ones. Right, I mentioned earlier we have 12 zones, and if you are interested in investing in either of the zone, you can submit the application directly to the One-Stop Service Unit in the zone for issuance of enterprise registration and facilitation with other matters to get business operations started within a matter of days. We look forward to welcome you to our SEZ in Laos PDR soon, and I'd like to wish the seminar a great success. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Ms. Langstravad, for joining us through virtual recording all the way from Laos PDR. Next up is Mr. Derek Tangapan, Deputy Director of the Malaysia Investment Development Authority. Please give him a warm round of applause.
A very good afternoon to distinguished guests. Annyeonghaseyo. Before I begin, please let me to extend my sincere thanks to the organizer, ASEAN-Korea Center, for the introduction as well as for inviting MIDA to be a part of today's seminar. The Malaysian Investment Authority, or MIDA, is the first point of contact for any foreign investor who tends to set up the business in Malaysia. As the principal investment promotion of the country of Malaysia, MIDA have been instrumental in attracting foreign direct investment for more than 50 years since its establishment in 1967. MIDA have a global footprint with strategic network of 20 overseas offices located in the exporting countries, covering the United States, Europe, Middle East, Asia, as well as Australia, with the main focus of attracting investment as well as to facilitate investors into Malaysia. To further support the investor, MIDA also have 12 state offices, basically to facilitate and to assist the implementation of the project on the manufacturing or services project by the investor, as well as to deal and to ease the relationship between the state government. As an investment promotion agency, MIDA also provides end-to-end solution for investor, including approval of the manufacturing license, the tax incentive, the expatriate post, the import duty exemption, and also handholds companies to implement the project towards the implementation of the project in Malaysia. Ladies and gentlemen, and all online viewers, to further balance the regional economic development in Malaysia, Peninsular Malaysia is a home of 3 out of 5 economic regional corridors in the 9 Malaysian plan. If you look in the slide, we have the Iskandar Malaysia at the northern side, which is focusing on the financial services, petrochemical, and healthcare, while on the above side, we have the East Coast Economic Region and the Northern Corridors Economic Region. While in the eastern side of the Malaysia, we have the Sarawak Corridors of Renewable Energy, or we call it as SCORE, and we have the Sabah Development Corridors, SDC. The key national development focuses of each regional corridors are shown in the slide. As I highlighted earlier, every corridors or every special economic zone, they have a certain focus. Now let me to walk through the northern side of the Malaysia. I would like to pull out Kulim High-Tech Park as one of the sample case. Kulim High-Tech Park is the Malaysia first fully integrated high technology park strategic located at the heart of Southeast Asia, which accounts nearly 2/3 of the global economic growth, while the region remains to be the dynamic and by sizable margin. Kulim High-Tech Park, or KHTP, has been established since 1996 to lead Malaysia into a more robust industrial economy focusing on capital-intensive, high-tech manufacturing, advanced technology, as well R&D activities. We have a lot of major players, which I will share shortly. So if we look, KHTP have received a steady growth of inward investment and emerged as one of the most preferred investment destination location in Asia for global companies in the high-tech, advanced technology and medical industry. We have a Korean company called Korotech who have established their plan for the chemical industry solution in KHTP. Besides that, we also have other companies, especially in the semiconductor industry, who are based in the Kulim High-Tech Park. When we go to the next, where the East Coast Economic Region is resource-rich region and established to promote growth in viable, equitable, and also sustainable manner. In the upstream sector, we have players like Petronas, Simdaibi, Felda, while in the downstream, we have downstream that focuses on the biopolymer and bio-based chemical. We have players like CJ Bio, a Korean company. We have Wilma, as well as FGV. The 178 hectares Kerteh Biopolymer Park, KBP, is a fully integrated bioeconomy hub for biopolymer and bio-based chemical products in Kerteh. This park is developed on a plug-and-play basis model, so investor can have their operation up to and running easily. So it's a plug-and-play economic zone where the company can just come in and set up the manufacturing plant, which will reduce the time of construction and so on. Next is the Pecan Automotive Park, which is a fully integrated automotive park, complete with the supporting industry and equipped with common services such as the National Testing Center, the R&D Center, Logistic Hub, Exhibition Center. Highcom Automotive Manufacturers Malaysia Sendera Berhad is one of the pioneer players in the park. So besides that, we have other players such as Fuso, Volkswagen, Mercedes, and ZF. Now when we go to the southern side of Malaysia, the Iskandar Malaysia generous land, strategic location, and abundant ready infrastructure and resource base boost a few promoted sector, which is the electrical and electronic, the petroleum and oleochemical, the food and agro processing, logistics, tourism, and also creative industry. The oil and gas industry has a strong foundation in Johor, and it has posited to create a strong industrial ecosystem moving forward. Example that I will wish to share is some of the dedicated industry park is the Tanjung Bin, the Pasir Gudang, Tanjung Lasat, and the Pengerang Integrated Complex, where LG Chem, a Korean company, have decided to invest further their project with a collaboration with Petronas in Pengerang itself. So currently the project have been ongoing, and is around 20 to 30% have started the construction this year, even though the COVID cases in Malaysia or in the world is hitting badly. Next is the slide indicates the overall development of the downstream oil and gas industry in Johor itself. So if you look in the slide, we have a robust or very complete ecosystem from phase 1 up to the phase 3, including the future development for companies to penetrate into the Johor downstream oil and gas industry. Kota Kinabalu Industry Park, KKIP, is one of the state initiatives to develop the industrial and manufacturing sector in Sabah. On the part of Borneo, we are proud to share that SK Nexalis, subsidiary of SK Corporation, has decided to set up their first overseas plant in KKIP to produce electric fuel for EV cars. A total of more than 4,000 acres of integrated industrial complex designated to cater light, medium, and heavy industry beyond the oil palm industry such as oil and gas, port, logistic, biorefinery, halal cluster, aquaculture, and also agriculture sector is also promoted in Sabah in the POIC. This slide indicates the product and services offered by POIC itself, which are the ports and logistic facilities, we have, and also the bulking storage facilities. Sarawak Samalaju, one of the industrial park or special economic zone in Sarawak is the Samalaju Industrial Park. Samalaju is ideal location for energy intensive heavy industry as well as industry depending on a deep sea port. This slide shows that indicates that the major companies currently operating there, and we are also proud to share that there's a Korean company called OCI is happy to be located in Samalaju, and they had decided to continue to be expanding in Malaysia due to the strategic location and also the energy intensive industry park for the company to further expand. The Malaysian government continues to be pro-business, prudential, and pragmatic in our policy to ensure Malaysia investment climate remains attractive for businesses, not only to conduct business activity, but also to expand and diversify the existing operation. Majority of Malaysians are well versed in English, while most are multilingual. Our talent are young and highly trainable. This provides an additional advantage to foreign investors to do business in Malaysia. In 2020, Malaysia is ranked the 22nd in the world talent ranking. Malaysia also offers a wide range of competitive tax incentive for the manufacturing project as well as the services project. The main incentive are the pioneer status and investment tax allowance and the reinvestment allowance. Basically, a company can enjoy an average between 20 to 25 years of tax incentive if they decided to locate in Malaysia. Malaysia advantage and a proven track record as an attractive investment base has also been recognized by various international institutions. The CEO magazine has ranked Malaysia as the world's best country to invest, while Bloomberg ranked Malaysia as the most attractive emerging market in Asia. On top of that, we are also ranked number 2nd by the World Bank Group that ease of doing business within ASEAN, as well as we are the second most protecting investor country by the World Bank in 2020. I wish to invite distinguished guests who have interest of investment plan to visit Malaysia, because by seeing is believing. And I hope that all audience today will have a stimulating and productive session today. Thank you. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Mr. Tangapan, for your presentation. Now, please welcome Ms. Nao Mutakapau, Director General of Myanmar Trade Promotion Organization. She will also be participating in the seminar online.
Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. It is my pleasure and honor to be able to participate in this ASEAN Week program organized by ASEAN-Korea Center. On behalf of the Ministry of Commerce of Myanmar, first of all, I would like to express my profound thanks to the responsible officials from the ASEAN-Korea Center for inviting me to present about the special economic zones and the economic development of Myanmar. We all agree that special economic zones can be regarded as an investment in industrial infrastructure and a service provider to attract and facilitate foreign investment, integrated local firms into global value chains, promote export-oriented growth and generate employment. For many countries, these zones are an important instrument for the socio-economic development. ASEAN countries have about 1,000 special economic zones, representing 20% globally. The special economic zone schemes will contribute to 20% of the GDP in each country and increase worker income by an average of 8% a year. Now, I would like you to see the comparison of SEZ between Myanmar and the Mekong member countries. This is the map of Myanmar. Myanmar is strategically located in Southeast Asia between two large Asian economies, China and India. Myanmar is a unique country with vast natural resources, large market and excellent access to the sea. And there are 3 special economic zones in Myanmar, namely Tiloa SEZ near Yangon. The second one is Chao Phu SEZ in Rakhine State at the western part of Myanmar, and the third one is Dawei SEZ in the entire region in the southern part of Myanmar. And now I would like to explain about the law governing the special economic zones in Myanmar. The Myanmar Special Economic Zone Law 2014 offers SEZ with tax holiday, exemption from customs duties and other taxes, and protection from nationalization for investors and developers. Under the SEZ law, the price of goods manufactured, the services rendered, and the goods exported shall not be restricted. The objective of the new law are to create jobs, to promote living standard, to provide vocational training opportunities, promote the export of goods, and attract domestic and foreign investment. And the law also prescribes to establish the central body, central working body, and the management committee. Most of them are from the government official. According to the SEZ law, the management committee can issue a land use or land lease permit to an investor or developer for 50 years and renewable to 25 years. It is guaranteed that the investment business in the special economic zone shall not be nationalized during the permitted period. And now, let's go to the tax incentives mechanism for SEZ development. There are two types of zone in the SEZ. One is the free zone and another one is promotion zone. And there are income tax exemption for the free zone for export. And there are 7-year exemption and 50% relief for next 5 years, and the 50% for the next 5 years, if the profit is reinvested within 1 year. And in the promotion zone for the local market, there will be 5 years tax exemption, 50% relief for next 5 years, 50% for the next 5 years if the profit is reinvested. And there are import tax exemption also. And in the free zone, exemption on import of raw materials, machinery and spare parts, construction materials and motor vehicles for construction purposes, and also exemption on import of trading. And in the promotion zone, duty exemption on import of machinery, spare parts, construction materials and motor vehicles, and for the construction purpose. And there will also be 50% relief of the import tax for the next 5 years. And there are also commercial tax and VAT tax exemption, and also for the dividend payout and asset protection. And there are one-stop shop or one-stop service center in these special economic zones. The one-stop shop have a role to play in ensuring the success of each type of SEZ. The role and services may vary depending on the location, such as inland SEZ or border SEZ or economic corridor. But the ultimate goal of one-stop shop is, especially in transition economy, to reduce the cost of doing business and to improve efficiency by simplifying and centralizing administrative procedures and rules and regulations. Therefore, an efficient one-stop service center or one-stop shop can not only make the SEZ more effective, but also help it progress through the different stages of the SEZ over time. And now let me briefly about the Tilawa Special Economic Zone. Tilawa Special Economic Zone is located near Yangon, and it has 250 square kilometer project developed by Myanmar-Japan Consortium, comprising of Mitsubishi, Marubeni, Sumitomo, and Japan International Cooperation Agency, and Myanmar, and the public and private sector companies in Myanmar. There are deep sea port, industrial estate and area zone, and it was located 23 kilometers southeast of Yangon city along the Yangon River. It has completed the construction of phase 1 and phase 2 in zone A, and the construction of zone B is still under construction and will be complete soon. And this is the table for the permitted enterprises in the Tilawa economic zone by industrial sector. And the Most sector is the manufacturing sector, followed by logistics, trading, services, real estate, and hotel industry sector. And this is the table that the permitted enterprises in Tilawa SEZ. And if you look at that, you can see that Korea is the 4th largest country investing in Tilawa SEZ. Now let me briefly explain about the Chao Phu Special Economic Zone. This is the image picture of the Chao Phu Special Economic Zone. Chao Phu Special Economic Zone is 1,600 hectare wide, situated in Chao Phu district in Rakhine State at the western part of Myanmar, as a key area for both the national economic development and the Rakhine State development. In 2015, a consortium led by Cit Group of China won the tender to develop a deep sea port and industrial estate project. The framework agreement aims to implement the Chao Phu Deep Sea Port project according to the national norms. It is linking with Kunming, China, container port, and also include the gas turbine power plant project. And their planned industrial include logistics, services, and agriculture goods. And the Chao Phu district strategically lies in the geographic center of the economically vibrant and dynamic market cluster of China, India, and ASEAN. Moreover, facing the Bay of Bengal, Chao Phu SEZ will serve as a gateway connecting the hinterland in central Myanmar, northeastern India, and the southwestern part of China to the world. Economic and social development will be enhanced by creating jobs, enhanced livelihood, and basic infrastructure improvement. And this is the image photo of the Dawei Special Economic Zone. The Dawei Economic Zone is located at the strategically important place in GMS, that is Greater Mekong Sub-region, and plays an important role as a gateway for the western area of GMS to the areas such as India, Middle East, and Africa. It's located at the southern part of the country, touching the Andaman Sea and 350 kilometers away from Bangkok. It has the area of 196 square kilometers. In 2008, Thailand and Myanmar signed a memorandum of understanding to develop the SEZ, and at the time, Italian Thai Development Company was granted the 55 years concession. It includes deep sea port, industrial zone, power plant, and residential areas. And at the later stage, Japanese government also signed MOU as a third partner. The development of the SEZ can contribute to the economic development in the Nintai division and the southern part of the country. It can play a role in terms of regional integration across ASEAN. It will become a land bridge between Dawei, Bangkok, Phnom Penh, and Ho Chi Minh City in the Greater Mekong Sub-region, that known as the Southern Economic Corridor. Can also supply chain linkage with Thailand eastern seaboard, allowing industrial expansion. And it can also provide job creation and has livelihood and basic infrastructure improvement. And now, let me explain about the Korean companies investing in Myanmar SEZ. Currently, in Tilawa, there are 6 Korean companies successfully operating. In the area of manufacturing sector, especially manufacturing of food, edible oil, construction materials, wires and cable, and garment. And there are opportunities and challenges for the SEZ in Myanmar. The opportunities can be seen that the abundant labor force in Myanmar and its strategic location to the regional and international market. And there are about 50 million population of the domestic market. And we can use sea route by reducing cost and time with perfect logistic arrangement. Another thing is a great deal of untapped natural resources, the land and the sea and the water and mineral sector for raw materials. And we can apply our developing nation status and get the tax preferences for the market penetration. And there are also challenges for the development of SEZ in Myanmar. As we all know, we still have weak infrastructure and it needs to be developed. And another thing is COVID-19 pandemic, which the world is now facing, including Myanmar. And the last thing is the current political situation in our country. But we welcome all our potential investors, including from Korea, to have a collaboration and cooperation for the development of Myanmar economy for mutual benefit and mutual interest. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Mutakapau, for your participation despite the difficult circumstances. Before we move on to our last four presenters, let's watch the second video clip on Lao PDR, Malaysia, and Myanmar's booth items. the video gave an overview of 3 countries' representative products to our online viewers. Before we move on to the next presenter, I would like to once again remind our online viewers that your questions and comments are greatly welcomed. Please leave your comments through YouTube live chat along with your name, affiliation, and email address. We will send your questions to the speakers after the seminar. Thank you once again for your active participation. Next, let us invite Ms. Charito Plaza from the Philippine Economic Zone Authority. Please welcome her on the screen.
His Excellency Kim Hae-yong, the Secretary General of the ASEAN-Korea Center, Jose Maria Esdensay, the Commercial Counselor of Philippine Trade and Investment Center, Seoul and Special Trade Representative of the Department of Trade in South Korea, the organizers of the ASEAN-Korean Center and the Korean International Trade Association, Korean business people and member companies from KITA, ASEAN Special Economic Zones, industrial zones, promotion agencies, the embassies, and various investment promotion agencies, distinguished investors, stakeholders, guests, and participants, ladies and gentlemen. A most pleasant day to you all. Annyeong Hashem Yikah. I am incredibly delighted and honored to give this opportunity as a resource speaker for the ASEAN Week 2021 Seminar on Business Opportunities in ASEAN Special Economic Industrial Zones. Allow me to also take this precious moment to thank the ASEAN-Korean Center and the Korean International Trade Association for your immense efforts in organizing this significant event. Kamsahamnida. PEZA, for 26 years, has established itself as the top export-oriented investment promotion agency in the Philippines, mandated to promote investment, create employment, and generate exports. PEZA is a self-reliant, self-sustaining, and resource-generating agency, meaning it does not receive subsidy from the government. Likewise, in PEZA, we are known for our best practices, to have no red tape, but only red carpet treatment we give our investors. PEZA is known for its regulatory transparency and a one-stop shop and non-stop shop service for investors. PEZA's brand of service is recognized by the IFC World Bank, with PEZA having the best practice among the economic zones worldwide. As such, PEZA also contributes 64% of the Philippines' exports of commodities and goods, and 80% of the country's export services to markets all over the world. As of December 2020, PEZA manages 413 economic zones nationwide, which hosts 4,643 locator companies that employs 1.5 million direct workers, the biggest creator of jobs in the country, which increased the income and classification of the host local government units. It has lowered the poverty and crime incidents and insurgency. PEZA is also known for providing the ease of doing business. Hence, PEZA registers 90% of the foreign direct investors. We have 2 types of clients. First are the land and building owners, public or private lands that has to be registered to PEZA, and we call them as the economic zones developer. Second of our clients are the exports companies or exports oriented industries that must locate inside PEZA's economic zones to enjoy the government incentives and subsidies. These export industries must be into manufacturing, processing, refinery, assembly, IT BPO, agro-industrial, tourism, and medical tourism, among others. It is my pride and honor to inform everyone that despite the COVID pandemic, which started in 2020, PEZA continues to perform its mandate in totality, creating various opportunities for our local and foreign investors to come and locate in our economic zones, which are COVID-free. Currently, PEZA is in the process of redesigning, transforming our public economic zones and turning them into townships with industrial, commercial, and residential components that are green, healthy, sustainable, and smart, where investors, our locators, and workers will work, live, learn, and play. Even at this time of the pandemic, while many countries are competing in building and expanding more ecozones, as this greatly attracts investors from all over the world, thus boosting their economic growth, creating different types of ecozones to locate different types of industries who are into defense, manufacturing, the IT BPO, tourism, agro-industrial related industries, and recently the Knowledge, Innovation, Science and Technology Parks, or the KIST, to attract foreign schools to partner with local schools in training, promoting knowledge, new technology, and in research and development. PESA came up with a transformation roadmap, which is the medium and long-term development plan for our economic zones. This is because of our relentless efforts to attract and invite investors and establish new partnerships with various government agencies and provide local and foreign sectors in doing business in the Philippines. So our transformation roadmap adopts a worldview that we have to think global and act local, to ceaselessly promote and enhance the competitiveness of the Philippine market and contribute to the global supply chain. Under my leadership, we want to fully industrialize and make the Philippines as an investment haven in Asia by addressing the efficiency factors of expanding multinational companies for them to consider in making their investment decisions. Likewise, PESA seeks to transform its economic zone into a tourism destination where workers are also trained by the military and the police with sufficient skills to be able to respond to natural and man-made disasters and emergencies, thus assuring our investors and workers safety and security inside our economic zones. The following are the 6 goals of our transformation roadmap. First, we want to fully industrialize the country and contribute to the global supply chain. Second, we want to continue the transfer of technology. Third, we want to build a self-reliant, self-sustaining, and a resource-generating economy. And fourth, we need to attract different industries because we have different types of environment-friendly, green, special economic zones which are designed as smart towns, digital cities, create new metropolitan areas in every region nationwide. Fifth, we want the continuous creation of jobs and livelihood and totally develop the millions of hectares idle lands as economic zones. Sixth, we want to make the economy export-driven, so we are motivating the Filipinos and our investors to help us in making the economy, production, manufacturing, processing, refinery, assembly, IT BPO, digital economy. We are also emphasizing the creation of more agro-industrial ecozones, agroforestry, aquamarine ecozones, tourism, medical and pharmaceutical ecozones, and to make the domestic and export-driven economy strong. We did a very good balancing act through our business assistance and reliefs to support our investors and continue doing business in our economic zones. So we provided various assistance to our registered enterprises. Such includes the allowance, the increase of the allowance of 90% of the work from home arrangement and the inclusion of COVID-related expenses like the disinfection of the companies and the ecozone premises, the cost of PPEs, and providing shuttle services and housing for the skeletal force to observe physical distancing. So these COVID-related expenses are now deductible for enterprises from their 5% gross income earning incentive. PESA and the national government also provide free COVID vaccinations to our locators, investors, and workers to keep the health of the economic frontliners. This act aims to protect not only the jobs and livelihood of our people, but also our companies, so they will continue doing an unhampered business in the country despite the threats of the pandemic. And based on the zone reports for the period of June 21 to 25, 2021, 90% of our registered enterprises from various sectors have continued operations and comply in the global supply and demand. 84% of our IT BPO companies and 95% of our manufacturing enterprises have also continued operations under the various work arrangements. What are the benefits if you will invest in the Philippines? The Philippines is blessed with great abundance, both in natural or raw materials and resources, and a rich human resource. These two are just some of the many factors why local and foreign enterprises are enthusiastic in working with Filipinos and doing business in the Philippines. The following are among the top benefits of investing in our country. The Philippines is strategically located at the center of Asia and the Pacific, hence the nearest to the whole world. We have a tropical climate, only 2 types of weather, and a very fertile soil and vast lands for different types of economic activities. Thus, we can plant and produce the whole year round. Our Filipino workforce is the most sought after. Other than we have a young workforce, we produce 1 million plus Filipinos each year who reach the working age of 18, and half of them are university graduates. And thus, we have one among the high literacy rates and an English-speaking workforce. We also guarantee the basic rights of our investors, like your right to remit your profits to your country, your right to pay your debts, and your right to repatriate your investments once you decide to get out of the country. Hope you will not. The Philippines also enjoys the GSP Plus, or the General Systems of Preference, granted by the European Union Parliament and the USA, which means that those products that are manufactured, produced in the Philippines, and are destined to the European countries and the USA enjoys zero tariff. These are among our incentives that we continue to adapt to the changes of law, no matter what law we have. These incentives are still enjoyed and attract investors all over the world, like the Korean investors can avail of, number 1, income tax holiday, 4 to 7 years for strategic industries and those located in the countryside. After the income tax holiday, enterprises may enjoy special corporate income tax of 5% or an enhanced deductions for 10 years. Investors likewise in the importation of capital or industrial equipment, spare parts, supplies and raw materials will enjoy tax and duty-free importation. We also allow 100% foreign-owned companies and provide them a domestic sales allowance of up to 30% of the total sales. So meaning, if an export company would like to sell in the domestic market, we will allow you up to 30%. Also, if you will purchase locally in the Philippines, raw materials, equipment, and others that are related to the registered activity, which will include utilities like power, water, bills, and telecommunications, will enjoy zero value-added tax. Another incentive we give the Korean investors and the investors all over the world is the exemption from the payment of local government taxes and fees for 10 years and for enterprises enjoying the 5% SCIT. 7th, we give our foreign locators or investors the employment of foreign nationals, at least 5% of the total workforce. Also, PESA issues its own PESA visa, a special 2-year visa for the foreign investors, your immediate family members, and the foreign nationals, workers that you will hire. We also allow a long-term land lease, both in public and private lands, of up to 75 years. Or foreign companies may decide to have a local partner, so this is covered under the 60-40 ownership rule, which therefore allows the partnership to buy or acquire land properties. So far, there are 318 Korean locators registered with PESA. These locators contribute 53.714 billion pesos in investments, $760 million in exports, and employs 43,116 workers. And these are the top 10 Korean companies registered with PESA: Samsung Electromechanics Philippines, Smart Electronics Manufacturing Service Philippines, the Prema Tech Philippines Inc., the Codec Precision Inc., the Dongwang Clark Corporation, IM Digital Philippines Inc., the Philippine BXT Corporation, the Little Fuse Philippines Inc., the Hisonic Philippines Inc., the Didac Philippines Inc. We are very aggressive in reaching to investors all over the world. So we are conducting a global biz with PESA, which is part of our transformation roadmap and in our promotion and marketing tool in this new normal, which seeks to promote different types of ecozones as ideal locations for different types of export industries and domestic market companies, providing incentives and even subsidies for strategic and big-ticket industries, and the brand of PESA service, the ease of doing business in the Philippines. PESA has been receiving recognitions because of its balancing act and continuous attraction of foreign direct investments. The U.S. Department of State, for example, stated in its official 2020 investment climate statement that the business environment is notably better within the special economic zones, particularly those available for export businesses operated by PESA, which is known for its regulatory transparency, no red tape policy, and a one-stop shop services for investors. The Philippine Statistics Authority likewise recognized that PESA contributes the most foreign investment pledges at 62.3% for the total, with 12.19 billion pesos. Meanwhile, the Presidential Communications Operations Office cited PESA, a special citation which is conferred to government agencies who have exemplified an untiring dedication and commitment to the FOI, or the Freedom of Information Program, during this pandemic by keeping its channels of information and productive investment program and open and active to the public. Like PESA's performance in the first half of 2021, we take pride in saying that we have done a wonderful job in performing our mandates in serving our investors, locators, our partners, and our country, the Philippines, at its best despite the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic and the lockdowns in our country. PESA was able to finish strong in 2020 and increased 8.52% foreign investment in the first half of 2021 compared to the same period last year. So in closing, through these endeavors, we do not only seek to achieve, but we also believe that hand in hand with our new and existing locators, stakeholders, various collaborations with different agencies, the private and the public sectors, we can attain our principal goal of making our country self-reliant, self-sustaining, resource-generating, and as an investment haven in Asia, even in the post-pandemic period. So I'm strongly encouraging everyone to promote Galing Pinas, Galing Pinas, which means made in the Philippines is best, and the Philippines is best to invest in. Once again, thank you very much, His Excellency Kim Hae-yong, the ASEAN-Korean Center, the Korean International Trade Association, for having me here virtually. I wish a successful and an engaging ASEAN Week 2021. May this seminar amplify our common goal, exploring and opening business opportunities in the special economic zones and industrial zones in the ASEAN countries. Thank you very much. Mabuhay po tayong lahat. Kamsahamnida.
Thank you, Ms. Plaza, for your valuable time and fruitful information. Up next is Mr. Joshua Lim, Regional Director of Singapore Economic Development Board. He will also be joining us through the screen.
Good afternoon, everyone. Viewers who are physically present, as well as those tuning in online. My name is Joshua, and I'm from the Singapore Economic Development Board, or EDB in short. We are a Singapore government organisation under the Ministry of Trade and Industry. EDB partners companies to explore the role that Singapore can play for them, and we facilitate and provide government support for desired investments in Singapore. However, we are not going to be just fixated on Singapore today. It is around Singapore. As you have heard from other speakers before me and after me, the opportunities are in Southeast Asia, and we want to work with companies to explore how the best from every location can be leveraged to benefit Korean businesses. Why Southeast Asia? Southeast Asia remains an attractive destination for many companies. Manufacturing foreign direct investment to Southeast Asia grew at a 24% CAGR to reach US $55 billion in 2018. Tech giants are also looking to diversify their hardware production to locations in Southeast Asia. They recognize the opportunities for market growth in the region's digital economy, which is estimated to reach US $300 billion by 2025. There are three key factors that make Southeast Asia an attractive production base for companies. First, 60% of Southeast Asia's population of 650 million people is under the age of 35, providing a large workforce that is young and dynamic, and that can provide necessary talent to service companies' growth and expansion needs over the coming decades. Second, Southeast Asia has extensive networks of free trade agreement, including with Korea. Third, Southeast Asia is a relatively cost-competitive location for manufacturing. Then, how does Singapore feature? We have seen companies leverage Singapore as a control tower for Southeast Asia. 46% of the top 100 MNCs in the Forbes Global 2000 have their APAC headquarters in Singapore. MNCs also cite R&D and innovation functions in Singapore, while undertaking more land or labor-intensive manufacturing in the surrounding regions. As an example, Singapore is home to Dyson's global headquarters. Besides that, the Singapore team undertakes R&D, product development, and manufacturing of Dyson's digital motors. But the Singapore site does not do this independently. Dyson's motors, which are manufactured in Singapore, are shipped to Johor, Malaysia for assembly via contract manufacturers and for product testing, before being sent back to Singapore to be exported out to the rest of the world. Another example, Infineon. Singapore is home to Infineon's Asia RHQ and undertakes IC design. Singapore does manufacturing, final tests of semiconductor chips, before it is exported to customers all around the world. Likewise, Singapore is not alone in this. Infineon has a large manufacturing presence on the island of Batam, Indonesia, which undertakes semiconductor packaging of ICs, which is the manufacturing step before final test in Singapore. This leads me to my first key point. Manufacturing continues to remain extremely important to Singapore. While Singapore might be better known for our financial industry, which makes up about 16% of our GDP, manufacturing makes up close to 22% of our GDP. And in the long run, we intend to keep it between 20 to 25% of our economy. In fact, our Minister for Trade and Industry has announced that we intend to grow our manufacturing sector by another 50% over the next 10 years. And we will continue to provide strong support to advance manufacturing investments in Singapore to achieve that goal. But what does Singapore manufacture? What type of manufacturing activities will the Singapore government provide support to? Those can be found on the right side of the slide. Examples include biomedical manufacturing, specialty chemicals, electronics, and semiconductors. Referencing recent manufacturing announcements in Singapore, starting with semiconductors industry, companies like Global Foundries, ST Microelectronics, and Micron have all announced and/or completed expansions in Singapore, even despite COVID. Specific to the chemicals industry, BASF, ExxonMobil, and Neste all announced expansions to their manufacturing operations in Singapore. Specific to the healthcare industry, Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine partner, BioNTech, announced that they will be setting up a mRNA manufacturing facility in Singapore. Sanofi had also announced that it will invest in a vaccine manufacturing site in Singapore. But as I mentioned earlier, not all manufacturing can be done alone, and we work with our partners in the region as well. Twinning with locations such as Johor in Malaysia and Batam and Bintan in Indonesia allows companies to benefit from the best of both countries. Singapore could be our R&D or new product introduction hub, while manufacturing could take place in the region. Even in the area of digital talent, there is an up-and-coming pool of tech talent in Batam which can help provide cost-effective tech solutions and even host data centers too. These locations are also near Singapore, meaning easy access to these locations. EDB works closely with local partners, including businesses and government stakeholders, and we will be happy to avail our network and relationship to companies who are willing to explore twinning models. Using Flex as an example, there is a large team in Singapore undertaking new product introduction, box build and sub-assembly, system integration, testing and logistics for a wide range of products. There is even an advanced incubation center to support hardware startups in the development of new products. There is even a larger team in Batam that undertakes the circuit board assembly and box build for communications, computing, and storage products. Singapore assists by providing technical support and final assembly services of components and products manufactured in Batam before being exported from Singapore to customers worldwide. Similarly, IPEX manufactures precision modules and components both in Singapore and Johor, both targeting electronics and automotive end applications. Products are also shipped out of Singapore. Now the questions some might have are, how can Singapore EDB partner and support investment in Singapore and twinning models with Johor and Batam and Bintan? We can do so in 3 ways. Firstly, we can help connect you with trusted local partners. EDB has entered partnerships with industrial park operators in these regions, and I'll elaborate slightly more in the next slide. Secondly, we can collaborate with businesses and governments to create mutually beneficial outcomes. For example, Batam was recently designated as a special economic zone. Finally, we can work with companies to develop business models for the ASEAN market, be it in partnership with other Singapore companies already present in the region, or connecting you with key suppliers to support your Southeast Asian operations. Going back to the first point on connecting companies with trusted local partners, EDB, together with private sector partners, have come together to launch the Southeast Asia Manufacturing Alliance, or SMA. Under SMA, companies which meet eligibility criteria will unlock a differentiated tier of benefits from EDB and industrial park owners. An example is in Johor, Malaysia, where CapitaLand operates an industrial park. Besides a differentiated tier of logistic prices, CapitaLand will be able to provide complementary business services. On EDB's end, we are able to offer up to 1 million Singapore dollars in grants for eligible innovation activities to be undertaken in Singapore. Our sister government organisation, Enterprise Singapore, who works with Singapore companies, would be able to provide customised services to help companies with supplier sourcing. As a quick snapshot, these are examples of companies that have already leveraged Singapore as a gateway to manufacturing in Johor and in Batam and Bintan. As a last case study, I would like to use the example of Schneider Electric. Singapore hosts Schneider's East Asia and Japan RHQ and Innovation Hub. In Batam, they have a large manufacturing plant doing manufacturing electronic components. And this is by no means a low-tech factory. This is a factory that was designated as the 4th Industrial Revolution Advanced Lighthouse by the World Economic Forum. Singapore regularly sends tax experts and engineers to support Batam site, such as around the use of IoT and digital tools in the factory. Like the other examples before, products manufactured in Batam are shipped to Singapore for export to global markets. On a related note, I had mentioned earlier in this presentation that beyond manufacturing, regional locations could also be a cost-effective tech solutions hub for Singapore-based companies. Specifically, Nongsa Digital Park in Batam has a growing population of young, capable digital talent that companies can tap on. For example, Infinite Studios has a few hundred digital animators based there, and there's rapid expansion taking place that can eventually host more than 8,000 tech talent once completed. Besides that, some companies are considering hosting data centers in Nongsa Digital Park as well, and Singapore EDB can help to facilitate that too. I hope my presentation today has provided listeners information and many examples on how companies have twinned their Singapore operations with locations nearby, thereby leveraging the best benefits from every country. Please feel free to reach out to me if you'd like to have a conversation on how Singapore EDB can help support your entry into Singapore or Southeast Asia. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Lim, for delivering an excellent presentation. Coming up next is Ms. Nam Kyung-min, Deputy Director of Thailand Board of Investment. Please welcome her up to the stage.
안녕하십니까. 오늘 종합
Hello, everyone. We are talking about the 10 countries in the ASEAN. And now I'd like to thank the Korean ASEAN Center for giving me the opportunity to present today. Today, I will talk about the Thailand special economic zones as others did today. But if you look at the slides, maybe you will recognize what kind of things I will talk about today. What kind of story would I tell today? So looking at the next slide, I will talk about the Thailand as the global gateway to Asia. So you must know that where the Thailand is located here. If you look at these blue area, this is the Thailand, which is a center of the ASEAN countries. And you have easy access to the neighboring countries. As you see here, 40% of the world GDP is expected to be created in ASEAN, China, and India. So as the neighboring country of China and India, it is very easy to enter those markets for Korea as the strategic partnership. So after the COVID pandemic, when you expand your businesses, Thailand will be the optimal location for your investment. And for that, I will talk about the Thailand SEZs today. So before going into the SEZs, we have a little different concepts from the Korean concepts. You are used to Korean market, so maybe you will have the similar idea. However, Thailand is some unique and concept. The Thailand Board of Investments gives the incentives based on the activities, like the 8-year exemption of the CIT up to the 10 years of maximum. And even though the foreign companies can own the territories and land, or the visa or the work permit can be easily issued, including as well as the tax incentives. So if you think the only the SEZ gives the benefit, it is a little different in Thailand. So before listening to the presentation, please remember those facts. So if you are interested in the Thailand, you must heard the Eastern Economic Corridor. And today I will show you the special economic development zones around the border along with the ECC today. So at the border with the neighboring countries, we have the 10 SEZs. On the northern part, we have the border of the Myanmar, like Chiang Mai, Tak, and Kanchanaburi. And in Tak, in 2016, the KBS had a Super Asia documentary, and the Korean companies showed how they are utilizing those areas. So you can refer to those documentary program. And this is this area. Nong Khai, Nakhon Baton, Mukdahan is at the border with the Laos, and Trat and Songkhla and Songkhla has the border with the other countries. And Chiang Mai is also bordered with the Laos. So when you have the business among the ASEAN countries, you can utilize this area very well. In these SEZs, we have several target industries. So you can refer to this slide and the next slide to check what kind of target industry we have in this area. And for more detailed information, you can give us the call, then we will let you know the more detailed ideas. And then this slide will be shared after presentation. I can see you are taking a picture, but you can focus on the presentation more, and you can receive these slides later after the presentation. Other than these, if you look at the guidelines of the BOI, in 2015, we had the reform of the investment law. And for the more labor-intensive industries, we stopped the exemption. We are focusing more on the high-tech industries. However, if you invest in the SEZs at the border area, we can give you the non-tax incentives, but the threat area is excluded from here. We have the Cit Exemption Incentives. And originally, the exemption was 8 years. However, we provide additional 5 years of the 50% deduction of the corporate tax. And now we also have the exemption of the import duty for the machinery and the raw materials used in the production for export. And let me tell you about the EEC, Eastern Economic Corridors. This is the area for the Thailand government to focus to become more advanced economic countries. I think you must be familiar to this EEC, and this is Eastern Economic Corridor, including Chachoengsao, Chonburi, and Laos. It is difficult to explain in Korean, but this is Thailand district. So it is difficult to call it as a state or the county. So I will just call it Jangat. Jangat is the district name. And Pattaya is also located in this EEC area. Across Thailand, we have the various industrial complex, but the 72% are located in this Jangat area, where these industries are highly developed. So this EC area has already the high rate of the entry of the global companies, and the Korean companies are also operating in this area. Automotive industries are located here, producing more than 2 million units of cars, automotives. And it ranked the 11th largest manufacturing capacity. And Thailand is the second largest exporter of the electronics, and electronics industry is a major industry here too. And total floor area is 30,810 square kilometers, which is a little bigger than the Gyeonggi province in Korea. And Thailand emphasized the fact that the infrastructure of the EEC has the good access to other countries. Thailand, Laos, Cambodia are easily accessible, and China is also accessible from here. So I talked about the border area, which is a Long Khai area. By 2026, high-speed train will be built in this area. So Laos and Kunming already had the high-speed train. So from here to Kunming, the high-speed train can travel. So later, using this EEC, you can easily access to the ASEAN countries, to China and to India. India can be connected through the Myanmar now. And we also have the deep sea port called Lam Chabang, which is the only deep sea port in Thailand, is also located here. I will talk about this again more later about the infrastructures of this EEC, so that you can have the active operation the Thailand governments are providing the various infrastructures and the supportive measures. Also, the Utapao International Airport will be open to publics, which was originally the Army Forces Airport. And also Suvarnabhumi, Domba, and Utapao will be connected through the high-speed train. And the Maptaput port will be expanded by 2026. So when we have the completed infrastructures, this area will be the proven infrastructure hub in ASEAN countries. In ECC, we have a 12 target industry, including the advanced technologies and innovative industries. For the synergy effect, Thailand government tried to make a cluster of each industry, like the genomics and EECH for the high-speed train, and the medical hub, and the EECI for the innovation platform, and the EECA for the aerospace industry. So when you enter these specific areas, we will provide the more additional incentives. In the EEC, Thailand is the first country to adopt the 5G. So I think we have enough infrastructure to have the advanced high-tech industries. So EEC is very meaningful and important for the Thailand because 46% of the Thailand, which is the second economy in ASEAN, flows into this ECC area. Because we have the strong ground for the infrastructures. So EEC has once again 46% of the Thailand investment money, and also this area is pursuing the fourth industrial revolution, so that this area can be the core partner for the Korea's new southern policies. It is also the hub of the ASEAN logistics to connect all the neighboring countries. According to the Central Bank of Thailand, when the high-speed train is built, it will be the center to connect not only ASEAN, but also East Asia, China, and India. So when you come into the EEC, you can enjoy the various incentives. So the 10 years of the exemption of the CIT, and these kind of incentives will be very specific according to the activities you are doing. So when you give us a call or give us an email about your questions or comments, let us know. Then we will give you the full answers as much as possible. So due to the time restraint, I cannot tell you everything about the Thailand investment. However, I focus on the SEZ, and you must have need more information. So contact us if you need more information. Thank you very much.
Last but not least, let me introduce Mr. Bam Phet Duan, Head of Investment of Embassy of the Socialist Republic of Vietnam. Please give a big round of applause to our last speaker.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. So I'm the last speaker, presenter of this seminar, so I'll do it short. Okay, let me introduce myself. I'm Tuan. I'm from Vietnam Embassy, but actually I'm dispatched from Vietnam Ministry of Planning and Investment, which is in charge of foreign investment and economic development of Vietnam. So my term here is in Korea is about 3 years, and I have been here for almost 20 months, just from the start of the COVID-19 last year. Okay, let me start my presentation. So as you may know, Vietnam is also located in ASEAN, and the same with Thailand and Malaysia and other countries. We also, let's say, one of the gateway of manufacturing from foreign FDI into Vietnam. Let me briefly introduce the scale of Vietnam's economic. So our economic is the scale of our economic GDP is about 350 billion US dollar, and up to now we have attracted about 400 billion US dollar of FDI. So annually we attracted about 30 to 40 billion dollars of FDI. And as you can see, Korean is the largest foreign investors in Vietnam. And after that is Japan and Singapore. So Korean has about 9,000 projects and about 72 billion US dollars of investment. So every year we receive about 8 to 10 billion US dollars from Korean, but last year due to the COVID-19, it reduced to 4 billion. But this year, even resist from the COVID-19, we attract about 4 billion US dollar until September. So until the end of the year, we hope to receive 2 more billion US dollar of Korean. Hopefully some of the projects are on negotiation. We'll get to the conclusion sometimes in November or in December. And you can see most of the investments of Korean into Vietnam goes to the north and the south of Vietnam, which Hanoi and Ho Chi Minh City is located. Okay, due to time constraints, I will. So the trade volume of Vietnam to Korean is also 70 billion US dollar per year, and our leaderships of both countries target to promote to increase the trade volume to 100 billion US dollar in 2023. So that means it equals half of the total trade volume of Korean to Asian every year. And the investment of Korean to Vietnam also equal about more than 30% of the overall investments of Korean to Asia. That shows how Vietnam is important to Korean businessmen. Okay, so as other Asian countries, we are also integrated in the economic, and we are also a pro-trade trade country because the volume, the percentage of trade volume is 2 times larger than the GDP of Vietnam. So the GDP of our country is about 350 billion US dollar, and the trade volume is it will be somewhere between 600 and 650 billion dollars for this year. And you can see the top 10 export products of Vietnam. The first is the smartphone and parts. It accounts for about more than 50 billion US dollars. Second is computer electronic products. And third is the clothing and accessories. You can see machinery, equipment, footwear, and etc. So looking for the growth engine for manufacturing in the future, you can see that consumer electronics, high-tech, and others are the main development engines in the next 10 years. Okay, so let me briefly introduce some of the manufacturing clusters in Vietnam. So as you can see the map of Vietnam, we are a very long and wide and narrow country. So in the north we have Hanoi, and in the south we have Ho Chi Minh City. So most of the foreign investors into electronic parts and materials, smartphone, are located in the area of the north, which you can see like Samsung, LG, or Canon, Panasonic and others companies have their manufacturing bases. We have about 2,000 FDIs company here. And in the north of Vietnam, we have we have a very well-developed infrastructures comparatively with other regions of Vietnam. And we also just 600 kilometers from the Great Bay Area of China, which is in Gwangju and Hong Kong and Shenzhen area. So you can, it is very good for logistics. You can take just 1 day for the logistic for the bus or truck to go from Hanoi to the Great Bay Area. And in the south, we also have the electric manufacturing bases with like Intel, Samsung, Panasonic, or Bosch's from Germany. It is accounted for 23% of the investments and output of the economy. And second, we have the automobile cluster. Even though we are not as strong as Thailand, Indonesia, or Malaysia, but everywhere the automobile industry also have the output of 300 to 400 vehicles. And we also have companies from abroad like Hyundai or Kia from Korean. They have a joint venture with Vietnamese company. And of course, we have Ford, Benz, BMW, Mazda, Honda, and Toyota from Japan. And let's talk to the traditional garment and textile industry. So as Vietnam opened to the world in the late 90s of 30 years ago, most of the Korean, Taiwan, Singapore, Japan companies have their investment in the south of Vietnam. And as for now, still the companies are operated there, but due to the labor cost, the land cost, and etc., the investment now seems to shift from the southern part of Vietnam to the middle part of Vietnam, which is relatively have the more incentive, and they still attracted labor-intensive investment compared to the south and the north of Vietnam. In some regions and cities and provinces of the north and the south of Vietnam, the administration do not welcome textile and garment clusters due to the lack of labor and the increase of land prices. So going to the industry park and economic zones of Vietnam, we have totally 286 industry zones in operations, and 106 industry zones are still under development. And we also have 18 coastal economic zones, which is located mostly in the coastal area of Vietnam. And we also have 3 high-tech parks in Hanoi, Ho Chi Minh City, and Da Nang, the main city in the middle of Vietnam. You can see the industry zone and the economic zone attracted about 230 billion US dollars of FDI, which is account for 70% of the total FDI into Vietnam. And the industry zone and the special economic zone also account for about 55% of the total export of Vietnam, and about 4 million labor are working in the industry zone and economic zone of Vietnam. So you can see the locations of the industrial park and the economic zone. Most of them are located in the southern part and the Red River Delta, which is in the north of Vietnam. So it accounts for about 70% of all the industrial park and economic zone. So let me briefly introduce the economic zones in Vietnam. As you can see, we have 18 of the economic zone, which is located in the coastal area of Vietnam, from the north to the south. With investment into the economic zone, you can receive the highest special incentive, and you can get. We brought the integrated infrastructures. We have the abundant human resources, one-stop service. And we have companies from Korean like LG Electronics, LG Display, Doosan Heavy Industry, Capco, etc. Have built a big project in the industry economic zones in Vietnam. And for the high-tech zone, we have 3 of them, one in Hanoi, one in Ho Chi Minh, and one in Da Nang. Also the government have the highest special incentive given to the companies here. We have like Samsung Electronics and Hanwha Aerospace have project in Ho Chi Minh and in Hanoi. But main of the Korean investors and FDI investor in Vietnam goes to the economic industrial zones, which is located all over the countries. Vietnam have 63 provinces, and every province we have at least 1 or 2, about 10 economic industry zone. So by investing in the industry zone, you can have the preferential incentives. You have convenient logistic and infrastructures. You also get provide the one-stop service, and we can see Samsung, Hyosung, CJ, Hanwha, Taekwang, POSCO, etc. have a project here. So let me briefly introduce the procedures. First, the investors can contact with us. We can provide the basics information for you to choose the locations, and you can have the site visit. And then when you select the site, we can have the negotiations. And after that, we can do you can submit the investment license dossiers. And it takes about 2 to 3 months for the whole process, from the negotiations, the submit of the dossiers, reviewing the dossiers, and the approval. So normally it takes about 2 to 3 months, but for some big project which need the longer negotiation process, it will take up to 6 months. So here's the main incentive and the main legal documents which is involved with the incentive in the industry zone and special economic zones. We have the law on investment, law on corporate income tax, law on import and export tax, and law on land. And the investment incentive are divided into 3 criteria. The first is based on the project locations. If, like you invest in the economic zone, the high-tech zone, and the underdevelopment area. The second is based on the project scale. If you invest in the large-scale project, you will get the equally better incentive. And the last one, of course, if you invested in the area that the government is promoting the investment, especially on the high-tech area, you will also get the highest incentive from the government. So as other countries, the incentive is mainly based on the tax incentive. The highest tax incentive in Vietnam now is about 7 years of tax exemptions, 18 years of 50% reductions, and up to 37 years of corporate tax equal to 10%. Okay, so due to time restriction, I'll stop my presentation here. I'm based in Seoul, so if you have any questions, so please come to me, to our office. I'll be more than happy to welcome you and consult you with all the investment information regarding Vietnam. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bampituan, for providing us a wonderful introduction on special economic zones and industrial zones in Vietnam. Now we have reached the end of all presentations. We would like to wrap up the seminar by visiting Philippines, Singapore, Thailand, and Vietnam's pavilion booth. I hope you enjoy it. Thank you all the representatives from ASEAN and online viewers for your valuable time and joining us both through video and on-site. I hope our online viewers gained useful information about special economic zones and industrial zones in ASEAN region through the presentations. Although this calls for an end to our program, please note that seminar on Korea, ASEAN, and India market entry organized by Korea International Trade Association will be followed to help Korean businesses wishing to establish successful market strategies in the ASEAN and India region. Online viewers are welcome to participate in the seminar through KITA's YouTube channel. I hope everyone will gain useful insights from this event. Have a great evening, and we hope to see you again. Thank you.